In 2025, the United Kingdom has sent shockwaves through the global migration community. The doors to British citizenship and indefinite leave to remain, once seen as attainable goals for thousands, have been slammed shut with a force that has left many reeling. This isn't just another policy update or a minor adjustment to the rules. This is a seismic shift, a complete reimagining of who gets to call the UK home, and who is left standing outside, no matter how hard they knock. If you or someone you know has ever dreamed of building a life in Britain, you need to stop what you're doing and pay close attention, because the landscape has changed forever. Today, we're exposing the 5 groups who, as of 2025, have been told in no uncertain terms, the path to UK citizenship and permanent residency is over. Let's be clear, this isn't about tightening a few screws or closing a few loopholes. The British government has drawn a new, bold line in the sand. For some, the door is not just closed, it's been locked, bolted, and bricked over. For others, the finish line has been moved so far away that it might as well not exist. And for everyone watching, the message is unambiguous. The era of easy settlement in the UK is finished. But how did we get here? Why has the UK, a country built on centuries of migration and diversity, suddenly decided to pull up the drawbridge? The answer lies in a complex web of political pressures, public sentiment, and a government determined to reshape the very definition of Britishness. In this video, we'll break down exactly who is affected, why these changes are happening now, and what it means for the future of migration to the UK. So, whether you're a skilled worker, a student, a family member, or someone simply hoping for a better life, this is the information you cannot afford to miss. The rules have changed, the stakes are higher, and the consequences are more permanent than ever before. Let's start by addressing the first group whose hopes have been dashed: visitors to the UK. For years, there's been a persistent myth that coming to the UK on a visitor visa could somehow be the first step toward a permanent future. Maybe you've heard stories. Someone arrives as a tourist, finds a job, switches to a work or family visa, and starts the clock toward settlement. It sounded plausible, and for a long time, the rules were just ambiguous enough to keep that hope alive. But in 2025, the UK government has made it absolutely unmistakably clear. A visitor visa is for visiting, and nothing more. The days of using a tourist visa as a backdoor to residency are over. The Home Office has closed every loophole, tightened every condition, and made switching from a visitor visa to any long-term route from within the UK virtually impossible. Think of it like this. A visitor visa is a ticket to a show. You can enjoy the performance, soak in the atmosphere, but when the curtain falls, you have to leave. You can't use that ticket to get a job backstage, move in with the cast, or extend your stay indefinitely. The analogy is more than just a metaphor, it's now the law. And with the expansion of the Electronic Travel Authorization (ETA) scheme in 2025, even getting that initial ticket is becoming more formalized and scrutinized. The UK is tracking every entry and exit with digital precision, making it clear that if your intention is to stay, you shouldn't come as a visitor at all. For many, this is a harsh wake-up call. The illusion of a visitor-to-resident pipeline has been shattered, and the message is crystal clear. The path to indefinite leave to remain and citizenship does not begin with a tourist visa. It never really did, but now the government has made sure that no one can pretend otherwise. For visitors hoping to find a way to stay, the door isn't just closed, it's been sealed shut, and the key has been thrown away. The UK is drawing a hard boundary, and for this group, the dream of settlement is officially over. Now let's move into even more controversial territory. Those who entered the UK illegally or by dangerous means. For decades, the UK's approach to citizenship included a concept known as good character. It was a flexible, sometimes forgiving standard. If you had entered the country illegally years ago but had since built a life, paid your taxes, and stayed out of trouble, there was a chance the Home Office would overlook your initial mistake. The idea was that people could redeem themselves, that a single bad decision didn't have to define your entire future. But in 2025, that door to redemption has been slammed shut with finality. This is not just a policy change, it's a fundamental shift in philosophy. The 10-year forgiveness period, which once allowed people to move on from their past, is gone. An illegal entry is now a permanent stain, a mark that can never be erased. It doesn't matter if it happened last year or 20 years ago. The message is simple. If you broke the rules to get here, you will never be British. This is a lifetime ban, and it's being enforced with unprecedented strictness. But the crackdown doesn't stop there. The government has also targeted those who made dangerous journeys to reach the UK, particularly those who crossed the English Channel in small boats or hid in lorries. Under the new rules, taking such a route is now a lifetime barrier to citizenship. Even if you have a legitimate claim for asylum under international law, the UK may grant you protection, but you will never be allowed to become a citizen. The government has decoupled refuge from citizenship, creating a two-tier system. Those who can become British, and those who will always remain outsiders, no matter how long they live in the country or how much they contribute. For these groups, the dream of British citizenship is not just deferred, it's dead. The government has drawn a moral line in the sand, and for anyone who crossed it, there is no going back. Now let's turn our attention to a group that might find these changes even more shocking. Skilled workers and professionals who followed every rule, trusted every promise, and built their lives around the UK's established immigration pathways. For years, the journey to permanent residency for skilled workers was clear and predictable. You secured a work visa, contributed to the UK economy, paid your taxes, and after 5 years, you could apply for indefinite leave to remain. Once you had ILR, the path to citizenship was open. This system was not just a policy. It was a promise. A social contract that attracted talent from around the world and reassured families that their sacrifices would be rewarded with stability and belonging. But in 2025, that promise has been shattered. The government has proposed doubling the qualifying period for ILR from 5 years to 10. Imagine you're a doctor, an engineer, or a software developer who moved to the UK with your family, expecting that after 5 years of hard work and integration, you'd finally have security. Now you're being told you must wait another 5 years, 10 years in total, before you can even apply for permanent residency. That's a decade of uncertainty, a decade of renewing visas, paying high fees, and living with the constant anxiety that your right to remain could be revoked at any time. This change doesn't just affect individuals, it sends shockwaves through entire communities. Employers who rely on international talent are left scrambling. Families are forced to put their lives on hold, and the UK's reputation as a welcoming destination for skilled workers is at risk. The message is clear. The path to settlement is no longer a reward for contribution, but a test of endurance. For many, this will be a deal breaker. The UK is no longer offering a clear path to belonging, but a prolonged period of uncertainty that may drive talent elsewhere. The contrast is stark. Where there was once a straightforward, achievable goal, there is now a moving target. The finish line has been pushed so far into the future that for many, the dream of becoming British is slipping out of reach. The rules have changed, and the sense of betrayal is real. Among those most deeply affected by these sweeping changes are the Hong Kong British National Overseas (BNO) visa holders. Their story is especially poignant because it is rooted in a promise made not just by policy, but by history. In 2021, the UK introduced the BNO visa as a direct response to the erosion of freedoms in Hong Kong. It was presented as a lifeline, a pathway to safety and citizenship for those fleeing political turmoil. The terms were clear. 5 years of residence in the UK would lead to indefinite leave to remain. And from there, citizenship would be within reach. For thousands, this was more than a policy. It was a beacon of hope, a reason to uproot their lives and start anew in a foreign land. But in 2025, that hope has been thrown into uncertainty. The government's proposal to double the qualifying period for ILR from 5 to 10 years has hit BNO visa holders with particular force. Imagine leaving behind your home, your career, and your extended family, all based on a promise that after 5 years, you would have the security of permanent residency. Now halfway through that journey, the rules have changed. The finish line has been moved, and the sense of betrayal is profound. Campaigners have called it a breach of faith, arguing that the UK is reneging on its commitment to the people of Hong Kong at the very moment they need it most. This isn't just a bureaucratic adjustment. It's a fundamental shift in the relationship between the UK and those it once welcomed with open arms. For BNO visa holders, the dream of British citizenship has become a distant prospect, delayed by years and clouded by uncertainty. The message is clear. Even those who play by the rules, who trust in the promises of the British government, are not immune to sudden and sweeping changes. The sense of security that once defined the UK's immigration system has been replaced by doubt and anxiety. For many, this is more than a policy debate, it's a personal crisis. The UK's reputation as a safe haven is at stake, and the consequences will be felt for generations. As we look at the broader impact of these changes, it's impossible to ignore the ripple effects spreading through every corner of the UK's immigrant community. Families who once felt secure now find themselves in limbo, their futures clouded by uncertainty. Skilled professionals who brought their expertise to the UK are questioning whether their sacrifices were worth it. Students who dreamed of building a life after graduation are reconsidering their options. Even those who have lived in the UK for years, contributing to society and integrating into their communities, are now facing a reality where the goalposts have been moved beyond reach. The sense of trust that once existed between migrants and the British government has been deeply shaken. Contrast this with the past, when the UK was seen as a beacon of opportunity, a place where hard work, talent, and perseverance were rewarded with the chance to belong. The old system, for all its flaws, offered a clear path. Follow the rules, contribute to society, and you could eventually call the UK home. Now that clarity has been replaced by confusion and anxiety. The new message is that settlement is not a right, but a privilege reserved for a shrinking few. The drawbridge has been pulled up, and for many, the castle is now out of sight. This shift is not just administrative, it's psychological. The uncertainty seeps into every aspect of life, from career planning to family decisions. Should you invest in a home if your future is uncertain? Should you put down roots if you might be forced to leave? These are the questions now haunting thousands of families. The UK's new approach to immigration is not just about who gets to stay. It's about who gets to feel secure, who gets to plan for the future, and who is left in a state of perpetual waiting. For many, the sense of betrayal is acute. Promises have been broken, expectations upended, and the dream of British citizenship has become a moving target. The contrast between the UK's past openness and its current stance could not be more stark. The message to the world is clear. The era of easy settlement is over, and the consequences are being felt by real people every day. The reality of these new rules is settling in, and the effects are already visible. Immigration lawyers are inundated with desperate calls from clients who suddenly find themselves ineligible for the future they had planned. Community organizations are scrambling to provide support and guidance to those caught in the crossfire of shifting policies. Social media is filled with stories of heartbreak and confusion. Families separated, careers put on hold, and dreams deferred indefinitely. The sense of loss is palpable, not just for individuals, but for the UK as a whole. The country risks losing the very people who have helped build its economy, enrich its culture, and strengthen its global standing. The message being sent is that the UK is no longer a place where newcomers can hope to belong, but a fortress where entry is tightly controlled, and the path to citizenship is all but closed. Yet amid the uncertainty, there is also resilience. Many are refusing to give up, seeking new ways to adapt and persevere. Some are turning to other countries, looking for opportunities where their contributions will be valued and their futures more secure. Others are organizing, raising their voices in protest, and demanding that the government reconsider these drastic measures. The debate over immigration is far from settled, and the coming months will be critical in determining whether these changes become permanent or are challenged by public outcry and legal action. For now, the facts are clear. The UK has fundamentally changed the rules of the game. For visitors, the door to settlement is sealed. For those who entered illegally or by dangerous means, citizenship is a dream that will never be realized. For skilled workers and BNO visa holders, the journey to permanent residency has become a marathon with no guaranteed finish line. The landscape has shifted, and the consequences are profound. As we close, remember that immigration law is complex and constantly evolving. If you or someone you know is affected by these changes, seek advice from a qualified professional. And most importantly, stay informed. The future of UK immigration is uncertain, but knowledge is your best defense. What do you think of these changes? Is this the right direction for the UK, or a step too far? Share your thoughts in the comments, and if you found this video helpful, don't forget to like and subscribe for more updates on the issues that matter most.